On October 6th, we have our first full moon in Aries that isn't an eclipse and hasn't been an eclipse for several years. So let's get into actually working with this Aries full moon and what it means. I'm going to go over the astrology with you in detail, and then we're going to talk a little bit about folk magic and aligning our intentions with this cosmic event that is finally not an eclipse. My name is Crystal Sophia. I am an astrologer, astrological magician, and folk magician, and I am here to walk you through what the stars are saying and how we can make the most of that down here. Okay, so here we have our chart for the eclipse. I've set the location in Washington, D.C., just because that's a really nice arbitrary location to do for the majority of the audience who might be in the United States, but you can set this for anywhere that you are, down to your actual city and location, to see what this moon looks like more specifically for you and where you are. I'm going to go over some general things here, which will apply to everybody, so don't worry about that. The rising sign here, totally arbitrary and specific to the location. So what we're actually looking at is the moon, who is at 14 degrees Aries and 8 minutes, exactly opposite the sun, who is at 14 degrees Libra and 8 minutes. This is a full moon. The sun and the moon are opposite each other from the Earth's perspective, and this means that the full light of the sun can light up the entire face of the moon. So if you think about it, right, if my head is Earth and the moon goes around Earth, this is why we get different versions and different phases of the moon, because it's the side or the amount of the moon that is lit up by the sun at any given time. So that's the astronomy of full moon phases and just moon phases in general. This full moon, like I said, is the first time in a while that it hasn't been an eclipse during the Aries full moon. And honestly, it's not a terrible full moon in general. Yes, it is in Aries, which is Mars's sign, but at the same time, it's a moon that is, as we can do this again, it's unafflicted. Saturn, Mars, they're not looking at her in any sort of way. And in fact, Mars at this point is domiciled in Scorpio. So some astrologers would say that makes Mars stronger in the martial things that Mars likes to do. Some would say that Mars is comfortable and perhaps pacified. We will see. Even on a personal level, though, the ruler of the moon is in domicile and well situated and doesn't quite look at the moon. So it would have to make one of these lines to the moon, and you're seeing Mars and the moon do not have any lines connecting them. This is called aversion. It's basically like Mars is in the moon's blind spot. So they can't see each other and they can't talk to each other, which may be a better thing since Mars is, of course, by nature considered a malefic. So we have a full moon and we look at who is the moon talking to? Really, in close aspect, not much, just the sun. We do see that Jupiter is close by. If we do by whole sign aspects, Jupiter is giving the moon a square aspect, which is not bad considering it's Jupiter, and Jupiter doesn't really do bad. But then also Saturn and Venus here are also in aversion as well as Mercury. So the only planet of the visible planets that can connect with the moon is Jupiter, which is the greater benefic. So this might actually be a really ambitious and expansive opportunity for us to take action that feels aligned with our next steps. So that's kind of what we're looking at with this full moon. Keeping in mind the rest of the sky, we do see Mars in domicile. Venus, unfortunately, is dealing with an opposition from Saturn, and she is in the sign of her fall. So the Nugian topics may be more constructive right now than they are beautiful. They may be more hardworking right now than they are leisurely. Those are things that we can think of. Mars is able to do whatever Mars wants to do. Mars is in his house. It's his rules. He can do those things. Jupiter is exalted, celebrated right now. The moon in Aries isn't bad or good. It's just the moon being there. So it's uninhibited, but it's also not uplifted in any sort of way. The sun in Libra is considered to be in fall simply because the sun is exalted in Aries, but the sun comes into Libra every year. So it's not a bad thing for the sun to be there. It's just where the sun begins losing its advantage of daylight at this time of year as the days grow shorter in the northern hemisphere. So that's what we're looking at with the conditions of the planets overall in the context of this full moon. When we look at what can we expect around this full moon, we're going to look at Aries topics. So Aries is the first cardinal sign. It's cardinal and fire. It's igniting. It's starting things. It wants to begin and it wants to be excited about it. It's following its impulses. It wants to create. So this is an amazing time for you to think about, what am I creating? What have I been creating specifically over the last 6 months since the Aries new moon, which in fact was, I believe, an eclipse at the time. So, how have you transformed over the last 6 months? What have you begun that you're now getting some culminating experience in? And where do you want to go next? What is exciting to you? What is drawing your attention? And what impulses can you interview to make sure that they are the ones that become your aligned next step? So if you are someone with prominent placements, especially your rising sign in Aries, in Cancer, in Libra, or in Capricorn, you may feel this moon a little bit more than usual. It is in an angular position of your chart, so it is having action and activity with you as well. So keep an eye on anything in your chart that would be in the middle of Aries or in the middle of Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn. Those things will be receiving an aspect from this moon, which may activate them and help you to get some oomph in that area of your life. A good affirmation for this moon is I'm aware of the actions that I need to take. I'm aware of the actions that I need to take. Inviting clarity into your life, inviting the next step into your life, inviting the road before you to build itself one step at a time so you can take your next leap and know that you will land on something that is sure to be productive for you. So, ways that you can do that are to sort of look at your circumstances, assess what's going on around you, and just trust that the experience you have and that you've accumulated to this point is exactly what you need to take whatever the next best step is. It may not be the end of the journey, it probably isn't. A full moon is sort of the middle of a journey. We have 6 more months to complete this particular journey in this way. So, what is your best next step? And what choice, again, lights you up the most, makes you feel excited, and makes your ambition just raring to go? I hope that you really enjoy that we are now out of eclipse season, that we are having lunations that are not eclipses, and that we can have this energy uninhibited. So enjoy yourself, do some physical activity, do something that makes you feel happy, that makes you feel embodied, and that makes you feel alive, while you are also, of course, being as safe as you possibly can. I hope you have a great full moon, and I will see you again for the next new moon.